Okay, so here we are, week 3. Tonight we're going to be continuing to build and work on our newsletter. Let me open up my newsletter. Here is our newsletter. And you'll see that we have 2 pages here. Let me go to the, What's damaged about this? File, close. Now let's try it again. Save changes. No. Let's see if I can reopen this file. Open. Desktop. We're going to go to Indesign files, or that folder. Is that it? Yep. Assignment 2. Open. Update links. Okay, and so this is the brochure, or it's actually a newsletter. Okay, so this is the newsletter that we worked on last week. It should look familiar to you. April's here. Hello, April. How are you tonight?
Oops. I'm good. How are you?
All right. Where are you located, April?
I'm in West Virginia.
West Virginia. What's it like there? Is it nice and cool yet, or is it?
It's starting to get very cool. I'm not liking it at all. See,
No,
I'm from Michigan originally, and I don't like cold weather. That's why I moved down here.
Well, I don't like New Jersey weather, because New Jersey weather is very humid, and I don't like the humidity. I don't know whether you get a lot of humidity where you are, but
yeah, in the summertime it gets very humid.
See, I don't like that at all, and I would just as lief it be cold and not humid and hot.
Right.
So I kind of look forward to it starting to get cooler. But the problem is that, of course, when the seasons change like this, you then get sick. You get your colds and stuff.
Yeah, I know that. My kids have allergies, seasonal allergies.
Yeah.
It's really bad once the leaves start falling. And
yeah, I know. I have them too. I suffer from them as well. So yeah, it's not fun. There's nothing fun about it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. How is the course going so far? Are you okay? Everything's going all right for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have my troubles because it's really hard for me to concentrate on not really concentrate, but get like all the technical terms down, and trying to figure. The more I work the course, like the Sky News thing that we just did. At first, it was really hard for
the banner.
Yeah, it was really hard for me at first, but then once I did it a few times, and trust me, I had to do it a couple times because I ended up not saving it once and losing half of my work. So it started getting easier as I, kept doing it.
Yeah, well, guess what? That's how it works. I mean, I was talking to somebody today about that very thing. If you do something for the first time, you're going to feel very uncomfortable doing it, and you're going to feel rather insecure about it. But if you do it several times, then you start to get a better understanding of what you're doing, and it becomes a lot easier for you. So,
right.
It's just, I don't want to tell you the truth. There was a time when I was exactly in your shoes. I mean, I did not know how to work on a computer, and I did not know how to work with these programs. And what was worse for me, I was a graphic designer for many years before that, and I did all the conventional work that the graphic designers used to do on the drafting tables, with taping boards down and using the T-squares and the triangles and the markers and all that stuff. And all of that essentially became obsolete. And even though we are doing many of the same things in these programs, it's a lot more permanent in here, because, like, for instance, when you build something like the Sky News masthead, You actually build it, and you can modify it at the end. I don't know whether we talked a lot about this or not, but you can go in there and you can change that to Pantone. You can change it to CMYK very simply. So once you get that Sky News logo, the colors the way you want it, the shapes the way you want it, the text the way you want it, you can finalize it. It's a snap to finalize it. Back in the day when I was doing this on the boards, we used to have to render all this stuff with markers, and then afterwards we had to build it not using a computer, using black and white or colored films on acetates or overlays. I mean, it was just a completely different world. And you don't have to deal with any of that anymore. So all I can say to you is consider yourself lucky, because this is, in every way, this is so much more efficient to do than working the way I used to work.
I imagine it would be quite difficult. There's a lot of steps that goes through it, even on a computer, but trying to do it all by hand. And then, when you, I guess, I don't want to say how old are you, but when you were doing it, 10 years ago, things are so much more advanced now than what they were then.
Yep. Much different. This is really much better. As a matter of fact, I've said this many times too. I would love to be, 25 years old and starting my career all over, to be able to follow along with these programs and do it all in these programs, and to avoid what I did in the old days altogether. Although I have to admit, there's probably an awful lot of things that I took away from that kind of benefit me. So maybe I should be satisfied with what I got. And I guess I am,
Yeah, because you got more experience than we do, When
but experience will build. You're younger than me, and you'll do your work, and you'll build your experience. Right. That's part of it. Part of this whole process is experience, and you will gain that experience in time, So what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about these three panels right here. Okay, so the first panel that we have is our page panel. And if you remember, we created this four-page document.
Right.
And this is the front cover, that's the back cover. And this is essentially the inside two pages, which more or less are like a spread. So, here we're looking at page 1, which is the outside of this piece. And then if we click on 2, 3 here, it throws up our spread. And here is our spread. All right? Okay. And we have built this page here, and we have still this page to build, and then we go to page 4, and we still have that page to build. So that's essentially what we'll be working on tonight, these pages. Now, the first thing that I wanted to point out to you, actually, before I do that, we have some colors in here. We are working in 4-color process. So all these colors are processed. This is actually set to RGB. But if we take a look at this, it is actually, color mode is RGB. We're going to change that to CMYK, okay, and process. So the reason that I'm going and changing this to CMYK and process is because it's a 4-color process job. 4-color process work requires CMYK and the color type being processed, okay? I don't know how much you know about cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, or 4-color process. There is a course called Color in Production, and I teach it here as well. Have you had that course yet, April?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so you will be having it. I will be teaching it next mod. I don't know whether you'll be in my class next mod or not. I don't know when you'll be getting that course, but you will be learning all about this stuff. But what's important for you to understand is that when you're working in print, the color mode that you're looking for is CMYK, not RGB. So that's sort of why I'm showing you this, all right? Now I'm going to preview this, and do you see what happened here? Do you see how it changed?
Yeah, it changed.
No longer reading RGB, it's reading CMYK?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to do the very same thing with this. I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to come in here, and the color mode that's in here is RGB. and I'm going to change that to CMYK. And it's set up to process. Let me show you something. You can either have a spot color or a process color. A spot color is a color that is not within the gambit, and gambit means range. So if you say color gambit, you're talking about color range, a range of colors. Okay?
All right.
All right. So spot color is a color that is a singular color that when it prints, that singular color prints on its own special plate. And there's an additional charge that is associated with running a spot color. So I'm just pointing this out to you because this is set to process, by the way. And process is what you want, and I'll tell you why. That color right there, if that were a spot color, that color would have to print on its own special plate, and then you would have a 5-color job.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I have a bit of a cold, and I'm struggling with my throat. So that color would be a spot color. Oh, this is going to be rough.
You need to get something to drink.
Yeah, I have a cough drop. Hopefully that'll straighten it out in a minute. Now, if this color is a CMYK color, then it is going to be printing through the process of separating the colors into their component parts of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So that would mean if you take a look at that color right there, here is your cyan, okay? And you'll see that there is actually no color in the cyans that make up that color. In the magentas, there's almost 99, or actually almost 100%, 99.4% of the magenta. The black, I'm sorry, the yellow, there's 100%, and the black, there's none. So, magenta and yellow mixed at very high ranges of color give you that red. So again, I'm just giving you a very quick idea of what we're doing and how this is working. When this project gets sent to the printer, I believe when you did the first 2 pages last week and you submitted your work, you did that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the one that probably sent it to you like 3 different times.
Well, it's okay. As long as you did it, I don't care how many times you send it to me. As long as it gets done right, it comes 50 times. But when you sent it to me, I do believe I showed you, I went in and I showed you how to put in the printer's marks when you sent it as a PDF, right?
Yeah. Are you talking about?
When it gets sent to me, you're going to export it as a PDF.
Right, and make sure all your marks and bleeds and everything are checked. Yeah.
Right. So you understand why you're doing that. The reason that you're doing that is the printer needs those marks. He needs the crop marks. He needs the fold marks. He needs the registration marks, and he needs color bars, and he also needs the gray marks on it so that he can use those marks to create the 4 separate plates. This project will be broken out into 4 separate plates. The real benefit of that comes into play when you have these multicolor images like this. They're what this is really all about. By taking them apart, you end up with a separation that when it's put onto a plate in the proper order and printed, the picture comes out in full vivid color. So that's what we're doing, and that's why I'm showing you this. Let me hit OK. And now we have these 2 colors down here, which originally started out as RGB. They are now CMYK. Okay. And you have to look for little things like this because, again, we don't want to be sending the wrong colors to the printer. And the printer is not going to be using RGB color. Matter of fact, RGB color is what you would use if you were working on the internet, the web, creating web graphics. You don't use CMYK for the web. You use CMYK for printing, and you use RGB if your graphic is going to be used for some sort of a web application. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Any questions?
No.
All right, good. All right, so what we're going to do then is take a look at some pictures. So the first thing I'm going to do, that leads me really to the link panel. I should really point that out first. This is the link panel. The major problem that we have in InDesign is that all these images basically are linked to our file. They're not automatically embedded. Embedded means that they become a permanent part of the actual piece. And in this particular case, these images are not embedded. They are basically linked. One of the reasons that we learn about packaging, we will learn about packaging, I guess I actually have to show it to you tonight because you're going to finally package this thing tonight. Yeah, I'll be showing you about packaging later on. And packaging is the other alternative that you have besides a PDF. So you'll actually produce a final PDF with the printer's marks, and you will package this file. That's part of the project. And again, what packaging does is it creates a folder on your desktop. And in that folder will be two other folders, and one of the folders will have all of these pictures that are being used in your production. And it will have another folder that has the fonts that you are using in your production, all these fonts that you're using. Then what it'll do is it'll also copy a version of your document. This particular document right now is being called Sweeney Week 2. There it is. Sweeney Week 2 InDesign. What we're looking at in this particular one is what this project looks like after the end of last week, where we created page 1 and page 2, right? That's the page that you created, and you also created that page right there last week. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what we're going to do this week, let me go to Sweeney Week 3. I'm going to show you what we're going to do this week. So there's page 1. And what we're going to do this week is there's page 2. Okay. Notice that page 2 is changed. It turns out that the page that I had on page 2 is in fact page 3. So what I'm going to show you before we do anything else is how to move all of those bits of information from page 2 over to page 3. And then we're going to go in and build page 2. And then finally we'll go to page 4, and there's page 4. And those are your 4-page, that's your 4-page brochure that you're going to put together this week. You've already put together the first page here and the second page here, okay? And I actually truthfully think that these are the more complex of the pages. So you should really have little trouble putting together the this page here, which is page 3, and that page right there 4. I would say that you're going to probably find these to be fairly simple. All right. But at any rate, what I will be doing is I will be going over how I prepared those pages, and you can see how I did it, and you can ask me any questions that you have about it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And you're good so far?
I'm good.
All right. Go back to Sweeney, week 2. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I move all this stuff over to that page right there. I think I'll go to the view menu though, and I'll go to, let's see, I want to go to show frame edges. There we go. And I want to go to view menu, and I want to see grids and guides, show guides. Okay, so now you're looking at the page probably in a way that you're more comfortable with, right? I mean, this now shows you what your actual page looks like. And you remember what these lines are, right? You remember what they are?
Yeah, your marks and bleeds and.
Well, this is your what? The blue one is. Do you remember what the blue one was?
No.
That's the area that's called the slug area.
Oh, okay.
Remember? And the slug area was an area of space that you're allowing for your printer's marks and stuff to go in.
Right.
Right. And then the red line here, that's your bleed. Now, there's really no bleeds on this particular piece, but I usually just put a bleed in there anyway because you never know. So I always pretty much put a bleed in there, and I definitely put a slug in there. The black line, do you remember what the black line was? Black line is where the actual page is going to be trimmed or cut out of the larger piece of paper. So that indicates where your final piece is going to be cut to. That shows you what the size of your final piece would be, right? Remember that?
Yeah, I
Okay, now
remember
these
that.
purple lines, do you remember what these purple lines are?
Those are your layout lines.
Well, actually, the purple line that I'm talking about here is your margin area. And what you want to do is you want to set a margin area as a space that you really don't want to put anything that is not going to bleed beyond. If you notice here, my airline biz basically stays within the margin area, although it does peek out of it just a tiny bit. It's not much. Notice over here, this does not go beyond the margin area.
Right.
Nor does the bottom, nor does it over here. So that's what the margin essentially is. And then, of course, you have these columns here. This is a 3-column job. So basically, you've got 3 columns of text, and that's essentially what those marks are. All right. And we set all that up when we created the document in the first place. And as a graphic designer, it's your job to determine what all these will be. So the biggest thing for you to figure out is the layout of your page, this area right here. What do you want for your margin? Do you want the margins to be heavier than that? You want thicker margins, or do you want them to be smaller margins? And how many columns? Do you have 2 columns? Do you have 3? Do you have 4? And how much space do you want between your columns? So those are the real big issues that you as a graphic designer have to deal with. The overall size of the page is also a big concern because obviously, you want to be able to put that design or that page in there properly. So whatever size it is, you have to figure that out. Now, as far as something like the bleed and the slug, almost all the time you're going to be using 1/8 of an inch for a bleed. So that's almost like you just got to remember what it is, and you don't have to worry about it beyond that. Just remember, whenever you're indicating bleed, it's 1/8 of an inch, and that's all you got to know. And as far as the slug is concerned, you determine the slug size. I believe this was 3/4 of an inch, but it can be an inch, it can be 3/4, whatever you want it to be. However much space you think you need to get the elements that are going to be left for the printer onto your piece. And of course, you set all this up when you create your page, file new, and then you go in and you set up all these parameters there. All right?
Okay.
All right. So now I have to change this page. I have to move it over to here. So the easiest way to do this for me is to select everything. And I am going to go edit cut, and I'm going to cut it all to the clipboard. And then I'm going to come over here and double click on page 3. See how when I click on this, you see how both of these show?
Yeah.
Okay. But when I click on this, you see how just that page shows? That means that page is selected. Okay? Whereas this way, both of those pages are selected.
Okay.
So I want to select page 3 because I know that I'm going to be placing that text and stuff on page 3. Now, if I'm lucky, this will work out. I'm going to go edit, paste in place, and see it pastes it right back in. Okay. So I'm going to move it over this way. I'm just going to bring it over.
How are you moving over with your space bar?
I'm holding down the shift key and the space bar, and I'm bringing it over. I was hoping that it would automatically swap it to the next page. It just didn't want to do that. So, all right. So now I'm bringing the thing over here, and I got it in place. There we go. We look pretty good. All right. So now I'm going to go File, Save, and I now have this. This is my proper positioning for all this stuff. So I'm back to working on page 2. So I'm going to click on page 2. I'm going to bring this over here so I can see it. So what I'm going to do with this is, because I have, I guess you'd call them templates, I have pages that they gave me that I can use for reference. We did that last week. I'm going to get my layers palette out. These swatches and the page panels I can minimalize because I don't need these for the moment. I'm going to put it up here, and that too. And actually, I'm going to do that with this as well. I'm just nesting them all into the panel area. There's my layers. I have my visibility off for my trace. And remember the trace layer?
Yeah.
There's the trace layer. And you see I actually have the trace layer on its original position, and it didn't move because I had it locked. So that is no longer applying there. It's on that page. But you know what? I don't really need it anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to see in the middle where you get those little circles.
Yeah.
Okay. If I click on them, I get my art to come up and I'm going to hit delete. Notice now that when I did that, you see I still got my box here?
Yeah.
Okay. And I can click on that box to select it. And I'm trying to move this over a little bit. I can go File, Place, and I can go into Assignment Week 3, and I can find my newspaper page, which I believe newspaper 3. See it?
Yeah.
Okay. And hit Open, and there is my newspaper page 3. And maybe what I do want to do with this is,
I thought that was the last page.
oh, is it? Okay, maybe that is. Let me go and take a look. Let me see. Yes, it is. It's the last page. You're right. So I'm going to delete that one then. I actually put the wrong one in. Let's delete it. We'll try it again. So File, Place, and let's see, which one was it? It's week 3.
Week 3, 2.
This one here, I think.
Yeah, I think that one is it.
Okay, well, hold on. I actually forgot. Now we'll do it. File, Place. I didn't have the box selected. I just wanted to put it in the box. I didn't want to put it into my cursor. There. So now it's in there. It's a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select that and I'm just going to move it over until it gets in position, that's a better position for it right there. Okay, so there is my box. I'm on the template, the tracing layer. See, now if I hide this, the visibility, see where I am? I'm on the tracing layer, and I have my layout in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go to my pages, and I'm going to drop down to page 4, and I'm going to create a box for page 4. This is also on the tracing layer. I'm on the tracing layer, and go File, Place. And I'm going to take my page 4, which I believe is that now, and there we got that. Okay? Now this particular image, if you go back, let me go back to my layers, back to my pages. Notice that this page here is grayed out and this page here is not.
That's because you had it set before on your...
Oh yeah, what I did, why this is grayed out is because I put an effect on that box of transparency. And even though I took the art and replaced the art, the box still has that effect applied to it. So it's pretty cool. The thing that I did not do, though, is I did not copy and paste the box onto the back page. So by not doing that, what's happening is when I come in here, I do not get my effect. So I'm going to click on the box, and I'm going to go to the Object menu, and I'm going to come down to Effects, Transparency, and I'm going to set the opacity level down to, I don't know, I think it was like 40, what I did, and hit OK. And now I have that done. So what we're going to be working on tonight is that page right there and that page right there. I personally think that in many ways this particular page is in these two pages, I personally think they're slightly easier than the 2 other pages you did before. Because to me, I think there's more going on here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here especially, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
These pages, if you look at it, I mean, what you're doing is you're essentially putting a headline up here in 2 sizes, putting a picture here. You're creating 3 boxes which you are going to link and you're going to fill with text. Then you have to go in and you have to set a couple of paragraphs and you have to set 1 line of text which repeats. The words don't repeat, but the actual styling repeats here, here, and here, which I don't think is particularly difficult. Then you put a subhead in here, which is not difficult, and another linked box. So I personally think that this is not that difficult. I'm going to demonstrate how to do it anyway, but it's really, in my opinion, easier than the pages that you worked on last week. All right? So we'll do it. We'll go through the process. We'll do it, and you can ask me any questions as we go along. So the first thing I'm going to do before I go any further with this is go back to the layers panel, and I'm going to lock my trace layer. This way, I'm no longer able to affect anything on that layer. See?
Right.
It simply will not bother what's on there. That's good. And then I'm going to switch over to my layout layer. So now whatever I do will be done on that layout layer. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to get my type tool, and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag a box out that goes all the way across the top like that. And I am going to type in AIRPORT. Unfortunately, they didn't supply me with any text on this. Internet tips. Yeah, so I didn't get any text on this. And then I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to also type in HOW, how to use WI dash FISAFELY while LING traveling. Okay, so now I have 2 lines of text here. So the first thing that I want to do to format this is I want to center it. So here's the property bar, and the nice thing about the property bar, I mentioned this I think, but I just re-mentioned it to you. Depending upon whatever you have selected, the property bar will give you things that you can do to that element. In this particular case, we have several lines of text here. So you'll notice that all the formatting stuff here is available to us because I have text selected. All right? So the first thing that I want to do is I want to come in here. This is flushed left or aligned left text. I want to center it, align it center. So I'm going to click on that, and notice that the 2 lines of text center. Okay? Now, my font is Myriad Pro, and that's good. That's what I want. However, I got 2 different sizes here, and what I'm going to do is I don't exactly remember what size it is, but I'm going to roughly bring it up until I get it close. And I also think I'm using medium or semi-bold. Yeah, that's what I'm using, semi-bold. And you see I'm a little bit small still, so I'm going to go up. I think it's 35. 35. Yeah, 35. It's probably 34 actually. There it is. So there's my first line of text, and I'm just going to move it up into position. And it looks to me like it's the right size. Now, what I might do with this, because it does appear to be a little bit different, I may come in here and I may actually see what I want to do with this. I want to find my window type character, and I think what I might want to do is I might want to set my kerning right here, maybe go to 10. See how that stretched it out?
Yeah.
What I did here? I just basically stretched out the text so that it's the same size. Now, if you didn't do that, would it kill anything? No. But again, the point here is that we're trying to make this look as much as possible. And we also want to learn a little bit about the program. So this is what's called the character palette. And you have more information than you have up here in the character palette. So sometimes when you see something that you're not able to use, like for instance, I noticed that they didn't have this tracking up here. I opened up the character palette so I could get access to the tracking. Okay, this is kerning. This is the relationship between 2 letters. If I felt that I didn't like the way 2 letters looked side by side, I could click to place my cursor in there between them, and I could adjust the kerning. This looks okay to me, so I'm not going to bother doing it, but I'm just telling you. So now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select the second line of type. This is Myriad Pro, and it looks to me like this was set to actually Myriad Pro bold condensed, or actually is it regular just condensed, I think. Let's see. Bring it up in size, bring it up to 12, so 13. Yeah, okay, and now what's happening is it's starting to overreach the box, so I'm going to give it some extra space here so that I can get it back showing. There we go. All right, so Wi-Fi, and I think actually I made a mistake here. That's supposed to be a dash, not an underscore. All right, and the first thing I notice about this is that the font is lower than it should be. That's called leading. You know what leading is?
Leading is the
line space, the space between lines of text. That's called leading. So in other words, you have that line of text right there, and you have this line of text right here.
You got to move it up.
The space between those two lines is called leading. And I think there's probably too much of it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click it and click it and click it until I get it right about there. And it looks sort of like my font size is too big. So I'm going to try to bring it down a bit. Let's bring it down to, that's probably good right there. And I'm going to also, and now the tracking's here. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to open up the tracking. 25, let's try 30. And let's try 35. That's probably pretty good right there. And now let's take a look at what we got. Come in here and hide my, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so see, we basically now have set up our headline and our sub-headline. There it is. All right? So you think you could do that?
Yeah.
No problem?
No problems there. That's about the same as what we did on the other pages.
Yeah, I think more than anything else, I just want to show you that. I'm doing this because I just want you to feel comfortable in the knowledge that all this is essentially the same thing as you did on those other two pages. We're not really doing anything new here that's going to make things difficult for you. It's really just a matter of you've got two more pages that you've got to build, and you're using essentially the same working criteria to build those pages. All right. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to come in here, grab my text tool. Oh, wait a minute. Before I do that, select this box and go Object Fitting, Fit Frame to Content. Okay. And you see how your frame snaps up and fits the content?
Yeah.
And I actually moved those two sides in a little bit, so I got a nice, neat area for my text. Okay, so there you go. This is nice and clean and neat. And here's Catherine. Hello, Catherine. How you doing?
Fine. How are you? I'm sorry. I was in the tutoring center working on this airline thing. I apologize. I got my time messed up. 5 and 6.
No, that's all right. You're coming in sort of in the middle of it. So here's the thing. You can just continue along with us and watch what we're doing. If you have a question, you can ask me a question. But the bottom line is you can actually watch the video from the very beginning to this point and see what we've done. We haven't done that much. You know, we've really did a lot more talking about things than actual work. We did put our templates back in place, our tracing areas in for this page. This is doing essentially is we're building 2 more pages in this.
Right. I've got this page done, but do we have, is there a, it almost looks like there's a, does it have a box going or just a line going underneath while traveling safely?
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Where's the box?
No, well, the how to use Wi-Fi safely while traveling.
Are you talking about the last page?
No, page 2.
This here? Wait a minute.
Right here.
You talking about this? Wait.
No.
I think
she's use Wi-Fi safely when traveling?
Yeah.
Go to the view menu and extras, hide frame edges, and you can see.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
That just threw me off.
I'm sorry. It's just the color. It's just the color of the frame.
All right. I'm all right then. Okay.
All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the boxes that I'm going to link to put this text in here. Okay. So I do that by grabbing my type tool and I come up to here and I click and I drag to create a box all the way to about there and all the way over to my column mark. There it is. So I've actually built this box and it looks like, excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm going to make this box a little bit bigger. So I'll make that box about that big. Okay? So I have the first box that I need, and I'm going to go select it, edit copy, edit, paste in place, and I'm going to hold the shift key down and the right arrow, and I'm going to right arrow that new box over into position in the center column. See what I did? I now have 2 boxes. Okay? Since I have the box, I still have the original box selected, or not selected, but up in my I still have a copy of that box. See what I did? I'm going to go edit, paste in place, and I'm going to paste another one of those copies of the box, and now I'm going to move that box over to here into the 3rd column, and in just a second, I will have my 3 columns. I'm holding down to move it quickly like I did. I was holding down the shift key and then using the right arrow to move it across the page. Once I got it close, I let go of the shift key and I kind of nudged it into place just by hitting the right arrow. So there are my 3 boxes. Now what I want to do is I want to come in here and I want to link these boxes. And I do that. See this little square down at the bottom here?
Yeah.
Each one of these boxes has that little square. And by clicking on it, you'll see what happens to my cursor. You see it turned into the link?
Yep.
Okay, that's telling me that it's going to link that box to this box. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and click on this. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to link that box to that box. And if you take a look here, you can even see, because I have to the view menu here, I have, oh, wait a minute, type or text. Let's see, yeah, show text. Where is it? Object, view, extras. Where is it? I'm trying to remember where.
For your links?
No, where I actually selected this from. I'm having trouble remember where I got it from. Thought it was under type, or actually, oh boy, I forget where it was. I forget where I actually grabbed that from now. Well, anyway, I just want to show you that you can see that I have my visualization on, so that you can see that these text boxes are linked. Okay? So here's what I do. I make sure that all 3 of these boxes are selected, and then I'm going to go type, and I'm going to fill with placeholder text. And you see what happens? It fills the entire thing with placeholder text.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So that's really what you're going to do. You're not going to, struggle on this. You're just going to fill it with placeholder text. Okay? This is probably still formatted the same way that I had it before. So my guess would be that Myriad Pro regular 12 point over 14. That's probably what you were using here. And it's probably the same if I click on this. Let's see what that tells me. It is 12 over 14 Myriad Pro. Okay? So you see my point? You're basically in good shape. This is where you want it to be. Now, you're going to be putting a picture in here, and you're going to text wrap that picture. So you're going to do that next. I'm going to come in and I'm going to get one of my boxes here, and I'm going to click and hold and drag out a box that's about like that. And then I'm going to go File, Place. And I'm going to come in here, and I believe the picture that I'm looking for is that guy right there, the airport Wi-Fi. Click on it and hit Open, and there it is, except that it's a little bit on the big side. See it? See see how it's big? So I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to drag this down until it fits the box. And if I want the finger, if I want more of the finger, since it's still selected, I can nudge it over until I get it looking more or less the way I want it to look. Something like that is probably good. So there you have your picture, and you have your link text boxes. The only thing that's not happening is you have not established a text wrap situation. So we'll do that now. I'm going to select the box. I'm going to go to the window menu, and you see where it says text wrap?
Yeah.
open the text wrap panel up, and I'm just going to come over here and click on wrap around the bounding box, because in this particular case, I mean, it's just as good as any solution to wrap around the bounding box. So I wrap around the bounding box, and notice that the text jumps down. And another thing that you have to notice over here is at the very end, there's overset text, which is okay for us now because, first of all, this text is just make-believe text anyway. But I just want to point out to you that when you do something like this, if you have an abundance of text like this, some of your text will overset. It will go into that little box. And you would have to click on this and move it to another box onto another page. But we don't have to worry about that too much because of the situation. But what we do want to do is we would like to maybe make a nicer appearance to the relationship between the box here and that first line of text. You see how that first line of text is really all jammed up there? See what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's really close to the box.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I have these different little buttons here that give me a top offset, a bottom offset, an offset to the left, and an offset to the right. In this place, I think what I'm going to do is, oh, and by the way, this can either be all the same settings or individual settings. Right now, you'll notice that the link is in a broken condition, which means that if I click on the top offset, it's the only one that will apply. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going the wrong way. I should be going the bottom. There we go. The bottom offset. And I'm going to bring the bottom offset down to right about there, which is good enough. You can see. Now we have basically, you got enough space that this looks pretty good. Any questions about this? You guys okay with this?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, this is, you've done this all already, right?
It seems
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, again, are probably not going to have much difficulty with it. But there is something in here that I want to do, and I want to show you how I want to show you how to put these secondary lines in here, okay? So what I have to do is I have to set up a couple of these secondary lines, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Go to my layers palette, hide the layout. So there's one right there, see it? One right there, one right there, and one right there. So I have to come in and I have to do a couple of line breaks in order to do that. So I think I have a line break here. That looks like a period. Actually, you know what I think I'll do? I think what I'll do is I'll select all the text. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to find my, let's see, I want my, my space before. There we go. Space before. That's what I want here. Let me see.
Can you just go into paragraph styles?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I'm surprised it's not showing. Type in tables, paragraph styles. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to hit space before right here. And you see how a couple of them are moving.
Yeah.
And there's not enough, but I will fix that. And I think I'll probably go like that. That's probably, well, maybe not. Maybe I need more. That's probably good. And then what I guess I'll have to do is I'll actually come in here and physically put a few in. So there's one. Actually, it's a bad place to do it. Remember, this is fake text, so it doesn't really hurt. There you go. There's one. Okay, and there's another. There's three. And I will come in here and place a fourth one. Okay, so there's my fourth, and now I have what I need to put my subheads in. Now remember, like I said, since this is fake text, it doesn't matter where you position them, just as long as you do. All right? So I'm going to hide this. The first one, hacking airport Wi-Fi. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to bring back my layout, and I'm going to create a text box. Type in hacking, what was it? Computer hacking Wi-Fi.
Hacking airport Wi-Fi or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it is. AIRPORTWI-FI. Okay, so there we have it. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to change that to bold. And I'm going to go to 14 point. There we go. That should do it. That should be big enough for me. And then I'm just going to move it into position here. And I'm going to edit copy, edit in place, and then I'm going to move it up, bring it up over here. Since this is going to be the same, it's really going to be the same basic text. It's just going to say different things. I'm going to move it in place and change what it says. That's the easiest way to do this. Double click on this one. I forget what the second one says. It says grabbing personal data. So that's going to read okay, grabbing personal data. Edit, paste in place. I paste another one in, and this one is just going to slide over to the, did I get it? Did it actually do that? Let me see. Nope. Let's see, edit, paste in place. Okay, so there it is. Bring it over. And bring it up. And just make a change on it.
Think.
What's that say? That say, is it safe?
Yeah. And then the last one's protect yourself.
Yep. So, is it safe?
Aren't they all caps?
I don't know. I'll have to look at it again.
Okay.
If it is, make it all caps. You
All
know,
right.
I'm not that worried about what I'm doing here. Yeah, it is. They're all caps.
All right.
They have question marks and all that stuff. So, you know, you could do a better job than what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm just kind of putting it together to give you a general idea. And
Okay.
edit, paste in place. Okay. And then move it all the way over here to the third column. And what did you say it said?
Personal. Oh gosh, what was it? Personal.
Well, look, hold on. Personal. Oh, protect yourself.
Protect yourself. Yeah.
PR. So actually, ROTECT. Protect. YOURSELF. Protect yourself. And then I can hide the trace. And if you want to, you can go view extra hide frame edges. And what you could do here is you could come in and you could adjust your subheads and position them. And yourself. There you go. And you could basically, whoops, that's not what I want to do. I want to do that. Yeah. And you can just position this text where you think it looks right. Okay. That's probably a little too close there. Move it up a bit. That's probably okay. And there you go. So you basically end up with something that looks like that. And I mean, I'm just doing this. I'm not really being very neat with this, but I think you get the general idea. I think it does look a lot better if you use all caps, so use all caps with it. But that's basically what you want to do, is you want to kind of get this thing together. And essentially how I'm doing it is I'm just making a couple of paragraphs and opening up a little bit of space and putting these subheads in. They all look the same. They all function the same way. So you should have little trouble putting this together. I did it by basically copying and pasting, and all the formatting goes in there, and then you just have to put the right letters in and you're good to go. All right. Any questions?
You got your bullets next.
Yeah, the bottom part. Let's see here. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same thing at the bottom, except that we are not going to be putting any subs. Actually, here, you're right. There are bullets there. So what I will do with that is I'll come in here and I will select. I have to have some paragraphs in order to have those bullets. So I have to put a paragraph return there, and I have to put a paragraph return there, and I guess I'm only going to end up with like 3. Okay. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to select these. Let's see. Select all this, and what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to come in here and we're going to have to adjust this back, dial this back down a little bit. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, see, it's actually Control-Z. I think I just need to select these 2. That's probably what it is. Yep, that's it. So I'm going to bring these up to a more normal position like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add my bullets to it. And Where are my bullets? I can never find these things up here.
Where were they?
They were up here.
Aren't they
They usually right up here. That's what.
When you go into your paragraph styles and you click on the 3 lines in the paragraph styles.
What?
Up in the top right hand corner.
This?
And there should be a bullets and number and list. I just got done doing that.
All right. Bullets. List type bullets. And solid bullets are fine. There you go. And the only thing I don't like about this is I don't like the setting. I don't like the way that I don't like the way that is inset. So what I have to do is I guess I'd have to go in here and reset that. And let's see, typing tools. I want to go to my tabs. Let's see, where's my tabs? Type. Where are we at? Tab. There we go. So what I want to do with this is I want to see if I can get those tabs over a little bit. So nope. Tab. It's awful wide though. That's not what I want. I want to try to get it narrower. Okay. That's a little bit better. That's more like that. Okay. So now I have my tabs, and I'm going to hide my trace, and you can see sort of what we end up with. Now that's good enough. I mean, as I say, you just want to get yourself looking somewhat like what's on there. Any questions?
No, not so far.
All right. So we're going to go back to the trace, and we're going to just put this bottom area in. And this is not that difficult. I think probably I could do this. I could come in here and I could go copy. And then I can just come down here and go paste. And I can bring this down to here. And I can stretch her out. And I'm going to move it down a little bit so I can see what it says. Wi-Fi in the air. W-I dash. Okay. And once again, by doing it this way, we more or less have the same size and look for our piece. And it fits pretty much good. I could probably give it, oh, I don't know, maybe I'd probably leave it just the way it is. Object fitting, fit frame to content. There we go. And then down here, basically what we're going to do is we're going to link 3 boxes again. Click and drag. All right. And hold on a minute here. Let me see. There it is. Yeah. Move it up a bit. And edit copy. Edit paste in place. And then move it over. And now we should have 2. Come on. There we go. And we should have 2. There we go. And then edit paste in place and slide this one over. We're going to do the exact same thing. And then, of course, we're going to choose that one, click on it, link it. Click on it, link it. And then select all 3. And type, fill with placeholder text. Maybe make a couple of returns. Come on, get in there. Enter. And then maybe here, enter. There we go. I didn't get that one, evidently. Let's see. Enter. There we go. And another one here maybe. Enter. There. All right. So that looks okay. I'm not too crazy about the idea of this one-line widow here. So, you know, since this is a faked thing, what I'm going to do is, there we go, bring it back up here. I'm going to move this up a little bit and have less lines there. And I can come in here and I can break that. And that will visually look okay for the time being. Okay? So that's that. And then the only thing that's left is to select that letter E and come up here, and we're going to play around with our characters. We're going to do our characters.
Character style.
And here we can do it here. I'm going to go, I think I went 3 lines. Yep, 3 lines. And I'll do the same thing here with the U. Where are we at? Okay. And then what I want to do with this is I want to...
yeah, that's a F. I think.
I don't want to go too far with it. I'll probably make it 60. I'll click there. And then I'm going to add some space. 60. And it looks like my lines moved a little bit here, so I'm going to adjust them so I can make this look good. And then we'll take a look at the whole thing. That's close enough. Hide the trace. View. Extras. Hide frame edges. Oops, I actually turned it back on. Extras. Hide frame edges. I want active view. Grids and guides. Hide guides. There we go. Now we're kind of seeing more or less with this. I don't like looking at U, so I'm going to change it to the T. There. And I have to put this back in now. There we go. Okay, so that'll give you an idea of what you're trying to accomplish on that page. All right. Any questions? Think you can handle that?
I think you can handle. I can handle that. That's easy.
Yeah, I think it's easier. I think it's overall easier than the other page. The other thing too is that they do give you the layout to follow. So the layout is something that will help too. Now I did happen to notice something. I did happen to notice that they do have at the bottom of this page, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm done with the tabs for the moment. They do have for the bottom of the page here. They have a rule, and they have the number 2, and they have September of 2014 here. They don't have that on this page. I don't know whether they have it on there or not, actually. So I think probably in this particular case, having it one time would probably be enough. Although you could repeat it over here, page 3 and September of 2014. Although, to me as a graphic designer, it doesn't make a lot of sense to repeat these things. What you could do is you could repeat the line, the rule. So to put a rule in like this, the first thing you're going to do is just come over here, grab your line tool, which is right here, and you're going to come down and you're going to click, hold the shift key, and you're going to drag across until you reach the other side. Notice that you have the smart guide selected. Can you see my smart guide down there? You see that little green line that's going up?
Yeah.
That's my smart guide. That's showing me where the edge of the box is. It's
right.
Make sure I get, okay, so there's my line. It's too big. So what I want to do is I want to come in here and I want to bring it down to like a 0.5. Very fine little line. That's what I'm really looking for. Okay, I kind of like that look. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see better down here what I'm doing. And I'm going to create a small text box right here, and I'm just going to type in 2. So now I have 2, and it looks to me like that's probably good enough. The size is good enough right there. Edit copy, edit in place. I'll scroll all over here, and then I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to move that number 2 across the page. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the box up. Open the box up, and I'm going to type, remove the 2, and I'm going to type September, SEPTEMBER space 2014. Okay, and it looks like my box is a little short for that, so I will stretch the box out a little bit more, and now I have it. And then of course what I'll do is I'll move it over until it's more or less aligned. Let's go to the view menu, fit page and window, and there you have my rule and page 2 in September 2014. So if I wanted to repeat this, what I think would probably be a smart move here is to select those and go object group. And then what I'm going to do is edit copy, edit paste in place, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to shift it and drag it across until it gets into position over there. I went a little too far with it, bring it back. And now I have it over there. And what I can do is I can come in here and I can select that. Let's zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to come in with my type tool, and I'm going to select that, and this is going to become 3. And I really have to change the other side because it's still going to say September 2014. Go to the view menu, fit page and window, and now I have changed it, and I have one on either page. Okay, so again, I mean, I don't know exactly whether it's on the other page or not because I don't have the layout in there anymore. I don't think I do. No, I don't because it's gone. But that's how you would put that on. All right. Any questions?
I do have a question. When we insert the picture in there,
which picture?
The picture with the finger and the keyboard.
Yeah.
We have to change it like we did the other pictures.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you did. I have the picture. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to stop right here for a second. Let me just drop this down. And let me go to Photoshop because this is the picture that's on the back.
Oh.
And the first thing I want you to look at up here is this is the actual picture they supply me with. All right?
Right, and it's RGB.
RGB. So that means that it's not in the right color mode. So yes, you want to go up and you want to go to image mode and change it to CMYK and hit OK. And now it is in CMYK. The other problem with the image is go to the image menu and go to image size. And you'll notice that this image is actually 6 inches wide and its resolution is 200. You want this to be smaller. So I'm going to cancel for a minute, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to go to page, well, let's see. Yeah, let's go to page 4. And I don't know how big that is, so I'm going to make a text box to find out. Let's see how big this has got to be. This is actually almost 5 inches. See where the width is at? 4.96 inches. Can you see that? Can you see that little area, that little black thing flashing there?
Yeah.
What does it say for W?
4.96.
So we know that that picture is going to be 4.96 inches. So we're going to have a little bit of a problem. I'm going to go to image size, and it's 6 inches. So I'm going to bring it down to 4. I'm going to bring it down to 5. And I'm going to bring this up to 200. I'm sorry, 300. And I'm going to go bicubic sharper, best for reduction. But here's the thing, and this is something that I want to explain to you. It's very important. I personally do not think taking this thing from 6 inches down to 5 and bringing it up to a 300 pixel per inch resolution is enough. This image should be bigger in order for it to go up in that. It should be probably maybe 7 or 8 inches as opposed to 6 for this to work properly. But that's not your fault, and that's not my fault. And unfortunately, you know, this is something which is just basically an exercise. But the problem with an exercise like this is by giving you this image this way, it's deceptive. And it would have been better if they gave you a larger image so I could properly bring the image down in size and show you the proper way to do it. Now I'm kind of forced to tell you that the image is probably too small as it is, and you're not going to end up with a usable image here. That's something that's important for you to know, because when you actually are building these projects, when you're actually doing these projects in real life, you are going to be working with images. People are going to supply you images, and they are going to get actually printed in the end. So all of this actually, at that point, counts, right?
Right.
You see my point?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say by this whole little demonstration here is the image that they gave you was 200 pixels per inch. And that's resolution's a little bit low for what you want. It was 6 inches. So the very best that I could do, and it can't be really much under 5 inches wide, because it's calling for 4.96, something like that. So I can bring it down to 5, and I can try to get the resolution up, and I can try to make it best for reduction. I can try to do this. I'm just not going to get a great result from it. So watch when I hit OK. See, it does come up, and if you really want to know the truth, it doesn't look that bad. So it is possible that this will work. Watch when I go to image size. It is now 5 inches wide, and it has a resolution of 300 pixels per inch. So it is possible that this image might work. However, and I say to you, it is kind of risky, because what you did is you stretched this image, and you really shouldn't be doing that. It's much better to have a bigger image and reduce the image down and bring the resolution up. If the image is too close to the original size, it makes it extremely risky to raise the resolution. So because this was 6 inches and we brought it down to 5, and it was 200, we brought it up to 300, it is a bit risky. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. So I'm going to hit OK. And save changes, yes. Now let's do this. Let's just quickly take a look at the other one. Let's go back to this page. And let's see what kind of a problem we have with this. So this one here is, let's go to the window, and let's go to info. And let's see that the width of that is 2.43. So it's just under 2.5, just under a half. So I guess the best I could do would be 2.5 on this for a width. Okay? You see what I'm doing? I'm kind of like roughing it out.
But
What I'm doing?
let me ask you something. When you go to object and you to go down to fitting and you put fit frame proportionately,
Yeah.
doesn't that?
No, it doesn't change the resolution, the color mode. It doesn't change.
No, I know. That's why we take it into Photoshop, right? And do all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just pointing out, though, that this box has a width of 2.4333. So I'm going to rough it out to 2.5, okay? So 2.5 is what I'm shooting for, because I would be safer to have it just a touch bigger. So what I want to do is I want to go to Windows, and I want to go to Links. And you see the image right here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, see it? It's right there, airfortwifi.jpg.
Right.
And you notice how it's selected because it's selected there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can come in here, click on this, and go to Edit With, and then I can choose Adobe Photoshop. And it will come in and open this automatically in Photoshop.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm going to go in. Well, first of all, I got to change the color mode, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So image mode, and it's going to change to CMYK color, and hit OK. And there you go, CMYK color. So that's done. I'm going to go image size. Notice that this 2 has a resolution of 200, and I'm going to change that to 300. This is 4 inches, and we need it to be 2.5, 2.5. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click on this and I'm going to make it bicubic sharper, best for reduction, okay? So I basically am sizing it around the size that we need it, and I'm giving it the resolution that we need, and I'm going to hit OK, and it adjusts slightly, okay? Close it. Save changes, yes. And now I'm going to delete that or bring that down, and it's in there, and it has been adjusted. There it is.
Can I ask you something? Weren't we supposed to change these to TIFFs?
Actually, look at this. Oh no, actually, you know what? To be honest with you, yes, you should actually change them to TIFFs, but
Okay.
it is also possible to use. You can also use JPEGs as well.
All right.
And
Okay.
I just did this as JPEG. So you know, what I'm saying to you is, if you're going to do yours, maybe you can save it as a TIFF, and then you can start from that. Whereas I just did mine with JPEGs.
Right.
Okay.
Because I was just curious, because I know last week you said to save them as TIFFs, so
Yeah, that is the best way to go. They generally would rather them be TIFFs, or PDFs also work sometimes, but I think probably the best way to go is a TIFF. In this particular case, I just left them as JPEGs. But
okay.
you
All
would,
right.
and the reason I did that is I wanted to be able to go in and show you the incorrect
Okay.
the incorrect. It wasn't CMYK, the incorrect yeah, color mode and the sizing. I wanted to be able to show that. And if I went in and created them as TIFFs, then I would have logically done all that. You see what I mean?
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. So go back to the last page. We started the last page. So now I got my last page begun here. And I'm going to remove the colors from this. So let's go to the colors. And it's going to be none. And I don't even want a stroke on it, I don't think, at this point. I'll remove the stroke and make that none. And while it's selected, I'm going to go File, Place. And that image is, where is it? It's that. And hit Open. And there it is. Notice this one came in, see? It came in like pretty much on the money. You know why? Because I actually sized this thing and I changed its resolution. So there's very, very little room for play on this. This one is pretty much a tight squeeze. Not necessarily a tight squeeze. That's not the right way to put it, but you get the general idea. Okay, so that's in there. Now this is something. The next thing I want to do is I want to put my heading up here. So let's go to the View menu, and let's show the frame edges again. And let's go to the View menu and show grids and guides. Okay, so we got everything back. So I'm going to get my type tool, come in here, and click and drag, fill that area with a box, and I'm going to center align this. Type in 9. Okay. 9 packaging tips every traveler should know. This is going to be Myriad Pro, right? This stuff. I didn't mean to change that. Myriad Pro. I hit the wrong button. Let's go down and make it bold because I believe that's bold. And let's start bringing it up. I don't exactly remember what size this was because I worked on it the other day. But I'm going to bring it up and get the size that I think it is. And you know what? Now that I look at this, I actually think this is Myriad Pro.
Bold condensed.
Yeah, bold condensed. You're absolutely right. So yeah, there we go. So we're going to keep bringing it up until we get something that looks about like that. And let me see how close we are with this. Let's bring it down. We are still a little bit on the small side. So I think it's probably 65. It looks like it's about right. And then the other thing, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make it a little bit more densely packed. Yeah, there we go. That looks pretty close. And this second line, I am going to change the leading on. Whoops, I keep going the wrong way on this. There we go. I'm bringing the leading up until that sits about right. Noticing that this line is a little bit less condensed than the other, I'm going to bring it back out until I get it where the other goes. And there, if we look at this, let's hide our background layer. And let's see what we got. There we go. That looks okay. You can notice, though, that this is packed in there a little bit on the tight side. So what I would do with this is I would ease up a little bit on this and not, let it balance itself out a little bit more. Okay? See, that looks a little bit more natural. Did you notice how it was really jammed in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want that. You don't really want that at all. So the better thing to do would be to maybe come in and adjust these lines somewhat. This one here could probably be a little bit, like this. I don't want to go much further than that. That's probably pretty good. So you got your picture and you've got your heading here. So the last thing we have to do with this is, let's bring our layers back, is put in 3 boxes. And I believe what I did with this was I created my box this way. I'm over here. Clicked and dragged out a box all the way over here. And yeah, see, this has even got a page on this. Although this looks like it, oh no, it's page 4. I'm sorry, that's page 4. So I'll make this box. There's my box. Edit copy, edit paste in place. And then I'm going to move the box over. And I have 2 now, hopefully. Yep. Click and click, and there's 2. And edit paste in place. And then move the box over. And now we have our 3 columns. Select all of them. Actually, what I got to do is I got to link them. Sorry. That's what I want. I want to link them. Click here. Click here. Click here. And click there. And actually file save. Right?
Right.
And then type. Fill with placeholder text. Boom. There we go. So now what we want to do here is we want to go object, arrange, send to back. Let's see if I can get this picture. Object, arrange, bring to front. There we go. That's what we want. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. I guess I put it away. Go to the window menu and we're going to go to text wrap. And there it is. And select the text wrap that I want. With this link, I want the bottom, and I'm going to drop it down until I reach about there. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to come in here. I'm going to put an eye in there so it's more like what the other looks like. And then I'm going to come up here and what do we want to do here? We want the paragraph, so we want this. 3. And then what we want to do here is we want to inset it a little bit. Okay, so there's that. And then what's left for me is, let's just close the background a minute. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now the only thing I want to do is at some point I want to come in here and I want to set a couple of paragraphs and I want to put more bullet points, but this time they're not going to be bullets, they're going to be numbered. So we'll go back into this and we'll click about here and hit enter. Enter. Oh, come on, what's going on now? I don't know why that's in setting like that. It shouldn't be. It's just queer. All right. And then what we're going to do is come down to here and hit enter. Oh, I'm still setting this thing. That's what I gotta, I guess I gotta remove that. Let's see, where are we at?
Down on your.
Okay. And then let's see, where would it start? I think it starts about here. Let's hit enter. Okay, and I think what's going to happen is these are what we're going to be putting our, go to the window. Where was it again?
In object styles? Was it? For bullets and numbering?
Yeah.
Wait, go in the paragraph and go into in the top right hand corner in that little right line.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Just,
I'm used to these things appearing at the top. So we're going to put numbers in here.
Yeah.
Okay, so numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, hit OK. There we go. Except now, of course, we have this issue with the adjusting. So you'll adjust that. Okay.
Okay.
We'll go to the window. And we want, or I'm sorry, type, where are we at? Tabs. And we'll see if I can adjust these tabs a little bit. Actually, I want this thing back here. I probably want it a little bit more than that. That's probably pretty good. That'll do for now. So there we have that. And I don't know that we really need anything more on that. Let's see. That's about it, except possibly that there's some paragraph spacing. So let's open up. I think this is actually, yeah. So let's see if we open up the paragraph spacing a little bit on this, what we get. This isn't going to work real good because I don't think I actually made paragraphs, but let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go space after. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's working out. So there we go. And there we have it. I do have a widow up here that I don't like, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's small potatoes, and this isn't real text. Okay, so basically then, now you have your back more or less set up. Now I noticed at the bottom of this thing that we do have that little line down here. So what I'm going to do to get that is I'm just going to come into my layers, my pages, and I'm going to go to page 3 and click on that. Edit copy, and then I'll switch to page 4 and edit pick in place. Okay, and actually, I grabbed the one from the other side, but hey, what the heck? We'll fix it. Bring it over here. Zoom in. Okay, and I am going to come in here, select that, and make that 4. And now we have our 4 pages. And it looks like we're in pretty good shape. Go to view, fit page and window. Now, a couple of people, this is something I wanted to point out. This is basically ready to go, all right? So we'll go to view menu, and we're going to go to extras, and we're going to hide the frame edges, view, digital guides, hide guides. So this is what our page looks like. A couple of you guys, I'm not saying you two, but a couple of you guys actually forgot to hide your tracing layers. So don't forget to hide your tracing layers when you submit this, okay?
Right.
So we now take a look at this thing, and what we end up with is, I get rid of these. I don't really need them now because I'm more or less done. Go to our pages, and we look at page 1. I can hide these as well. I'm basically done. Okay, so you get the general idea. There's your page 1. Right. And, of course, there's page 2, page 3. And there's page 4. And it basically does look like a 4-piece mailer, okay? So that's the first thing. That's what you're going to do. Now that we have this done, we're going to assume that we've done everything that we need to do. One of the things that I'm not, oh, let me show you something right here. See that right there? See that space right there? That terrible looking.
Yeah, that kerning.
Yeah. So actually, this is a good place to show you about kerning. See how I already hit it to 10 and it looks better? I'm going to try 15. There you go. See that? That makes that one little letter pair look better.
It's almost even with an A.
Yeah. It's just that there was not enough space between the C and the K. So I actually spotted that at the very last minute and fixed it. So here's the last thing that you've got to do. There's nothing more after this. What you're going to do is you're going to package this, and you're going to also create an Adobe PDF file of this, and you're going to then submit both of them to me in a zipped folder. So you guys know how to zip, right?
Right. It's compressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's step number one. The step number one is the packaging process. Now, do either of you know anything at all about packaging and what it's all about? Have you ever?
That is where all the fonts and everything is everything like that we had to put the file together in a package that goes to the printer.
Yeah, so basically what you're doing is you're putting together a package, and the package will include everything that is relevant to this particular document. So you'll have two folders inside of your package. One of those folders will have the pictures that are being used in them. The other will have I get reverb. I don't know who it is, but okay. The other will have the fonts that are being used. And then finally, there'll be a document which will relink everything, okay? So let's see how that works. We're going to go to File menu, and we're going to come down, and we're going to choose Package. And we get the Package dialog box. There are two sides to the dialog box. You have the left side, which shows the individual areas, like, for instance, fonts. And it comes in here and it shows you all the fonts that are being used in here, and it will give you all the ideas about the condition of those fonts. You have links and images, and this shows you all the different images and all their different properties, okay? Colors and inks, and then print settings and external plugins. But if you choose summary, you kind of get the same thing in a kind of streamlined way. So let's look at how the summary area works. The scope is of the entire publication. So this is only a small 4-page publication. It's not a major production, so it's fairly simple. But the bottom line is there are fonts. There are 12 fonts being used. There are 0 fonts missing, so that's good. There are 6 fonts embedded. That's good. There are 0 that are incomplete. That's also good, and 0 are protected. So you don't have any problems with your fonts. Links and images. There are 12 linked images found. 0 are modified, 0 are missing, 0 are inaccessible, 0 are embedded, and 6 use RGB color space. So I'm not really sure why I'm seeing this way, but there aren't 12 images being used in here. There's only like 4. So something's a little wacky with this. I should only be seeing, like, let me cancel this and let me show you what I'm talking about. Oh, maybe I do have 12 images. I got 1, 2, 3. There's 3 and 4, 5. Those are 6, 7, 8. So there's something funny with this. I don't know why I'm getting that, but anyway, let's go back to it. Let's go File, Package. What this should be showing me, and for some reason it's showing me 12 links found, links and images. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. It's also showing me, besides the images, it's also showing me any resource that's being linked. So those graphics that are in there are also being shown. showing me that there are 6 using RGB color space. So when we went in and fixed 2 of those photographs, apparently there are more in there that have to be converted. So one of 2 things should have happened here. I, or somebody, whoever was doing this, and probably me, I should have been more careful to make sure that all of my images were converted before into CMYK. Or what I'm going to have to do is, after I package this, I'm going to have to go in and check all of my images to make sure that I've missed nothing using RGB. Okay? They all need to be in CMYK. So you can fix it one way or the other. Usually it's a better idea to do this in advance, but there is a logical reason why I wouldn't have fixed all of them, because I need to show you what would happen if you didn't fix all of them. And it gives me a better way of explaining how this packaging dialog box really works. So essentially what this is telling you, and here is the little thing that you want to look for, that little yellow alert symbol. That's telling you that there's an issue or a potential issue. In this particular case, there is an issue, okay? So the issue is that there are images that are using RGB color space. You need to remember that so that you can go in and you can fix them, okay? You can't let them go to the printer in the wrong color mode. It just is no good. Color and inks, 4 process color inks. That's good. That's what you want. Look at here, 0 spot inks. That is also good, because if there were a spot ink, it would say 1, 2, or 3. And that would mean, in order to print this project, you would have to use additional plates at additional costs, and that is not necessarily what you want to do, okay? So the one thing that I have a problem with in my summary for this particular packaging is the use of the 6 RGB color space images. So do you guys understand that and what's going on with that? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you realize that when you go through this, try to make sure. Try to make sure that you switch everything from RGB into CMYK. Okay. So now that I've explained that, and you can kind of get a sense of, is there anything in here that you wanted to ask me about, or is it really clear to you guys?
That's pretty clear to me.
Okay, great. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to hit package. And the first thing it tells you is this publication is going to want to be saved. So you're going to save it. Just, of course, say yes, save. Now it's saving. So what you get printing instructions. Now this is something that's kind of, you either do this or you don't. It usually is a good idea to do this. And essentially what you do, you put the name of your file in here, contact information. Usually that contact information would be you, because you're the designer and you're the one that is preparing this, and you're the one that's going to be ultimately sending it through to the printer. So if the printer has a problem with something that you did, the printer's going to want to be able to contact you so that he can discuss that problem with you and get that problem resolved. So that's why you would put your contact information there as you. I would put in Bill Sweeney. The company is, you put in the company that you're working for, mostly out of respect, but you would probably do that. The address, you don't necessarily need the address. Phone number, I would put the phone number as well, because now you have a contact person and you have an actual phone number. The fax, that's kind of like arbitrary whether you do it or not. Email, definitely I'd put the email in, because a lot of times if they are not able to reach you by phone immediately, they might want to leave an email message, and you would put that email message in there. And then finally, if there's any kind of instructions that you would want to give the printer, that might be just something to protect yourself and make sure that he knows what they're doing, okay? So that's basically what this does. I'm going to hit continue, and I'm going to go to my desktop, and notice that it's going to make me a folder. See, it says right here, it's going to be saved on my desktop. I'm going to call this newsletter Newsletter. Newsletter. N-E-W-S, not A. Okay, newsletter. Now, the reason I'm calling this newsletter is because it is a newsletter, and it is probably just an easy way for me to find this on my desktop to show you what's inside of it. So what it's telling me it wants to do down here is it's going to copy the fonts, and it's going to copy the link graphics. Also, it's going to update the linked or the graphic links in the package. So that's essentially what this whole process is setting out to do. Okay? Now, I don't need things that are like non-printing or hidden content, so I don't have that. I don't want to view the report, so I don't have that selected. There's no real document hyphenation exceptions being used in here, so I don't have that selected. Basically, I want to update the graphic links, I want to copy the link graphics, and I want to copy fonts. So is that clear to you guys what we're doing here?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to hit package. It's going to be called newsletter. Hit package. And I get this warning. And essentially all this warning is telling me, and it's something that you could easily just not show this again. When you are copying fonts, fonts are considered software, and you lease that software when you buy your computer. They're on your computer. They don't really belong to you, and sometimes fonts have restrictions. So what this is basically reminding you is that, look, you know, you're using these for this particular project. You shouldn't be using them. You shouldn't be allowing your printer to use them for more than this project. That's essentially what this is all about. So basically, I just leave this. I don't, deselect this because I do a lot of training with this, and I want to make sure that I at least mention this to you. So I leave it showing. But it's nothing that you have to worry about. It's basic information. The printer knows all about this, so it is not something that he's going to go out of his way to do something illegal. And I got to tell you, the fact is that most of these printers own all these fonts anyway, because they are mostly interested in just getting this job on press and run and delivered and billed. So they probably have gone out at different times and have purchased just about every single font that exists. So they have all of it there. A lot of times you'll send fonts to them and they won't even use your font because they've already got them. Okay? So you understand all that? It's just a kind of a warning they give you.
Right.
Yeah. Okay? So it's nothing that you have to worry about too much. And now it's packaging. All right. And now I'm going to drop this down for a second. And I'm going to find my folder. Let's see if I can find my folder. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Oh, here it is, newsletter, right there. Okay. So now I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to open it up. And let me show you what's in here. This is the document that they created. This is the final document. It's been relinked to the resources in this folder. Okay? The resources in this folder are the document fonts, and when I open it, there they are. They are the fonts that are being used. They've actually been copied from your font library, and they're the actual fonts which are going to go with this. And then you're going to come in here and you're going to click on your links, and these are all the resources that are the visual resources that are being used. Now, what you'd have to remember is that several of these, I'll watch, for instance, see that? It really doesn't show you, though, that whether it's RGB or CMYK. So it's not really showing you that. But remember now, some of these images were not in CMYK. So if I were really doing this, I would have to take a look at every one of these images and make sure that they were all in CMYK. You and I together tonight did this image, and that we know is in CMYK, and we also did that image, so we know that is in CMYK. So we would probably not have to do them, but we would look at all these others to make sure that we have everything in CMYK. So that is essentially, oh, and those are the instructions that I was talking to you about. It's a text document. Those are the instructions. Remember, we talked about that as part of the packaging process. So that is what packaging looks like. Do you guys think you understand it? Do you have any questions?
I don't have any
No.
questions.
Go ahead.
Looks good.
Oh, there is no question?
No.
Ready to go to Adobe presets.
Okay, so you're both good with this. I see. I thought maybe someone said that. You're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So there's one last thing. This is what you're going to do. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go back into here, and you're going to go File.
Adobe preset, PDF preset.
Well, we don't actually. I guess we could go to Press Quality. Click Press Quality, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the desktop, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to find my newsletter, open newsletter, and make sure it's print and hit save. And then what's going to happen is this is going to come up, and it should be Press Quality. And down here, you just want to make sure that you're getting all of your pages, okay? All this other stuff doesn't really apply to you, so you don't have to worry about that. Just make sure it's all pages and make sure it's Press Quality. Actually, for our purposes, I'll tell you what you could do. You can choose high quality print. It makes a slightly smaller file, and I think you'll have an easier time sending it over to me. And this is not for real printing anyway, so you understand? High quality print's fine. The only other thing that I want to remind you of is that we want to click on marks and bleeds. And we want to get in here, and we want to click on all the printer's marks, so we get all the printer's marks. And then what we have is document bleed settings that I put in. Remember I put them in?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to choose document bleed settings, and I want you to see what happens. Automatically, it throws in 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. Okay? Good? You with me? The last thing you want to do is you want to include the slug area. Make sure that you include the slug area. If you don't include the slug area, you won't have space to show the marks. Now, there's one little thing that I just want to mention to you. I spoke to a printer the other day about another project, and the printers do not always want all of these marks. I, believe it or not, had a printer the other day that did not want page information, color bars, and bleed marks, crop marks, registration marks. No, he just didn't want the color bars and the page information. So I sent it to him that way. So when you do this, it probably is a good idea to at least talk to your printer and find out if there's some specific way they want to do something. For our purposes, just to show you them all, I'm going to choose to put back the color bar and page information. So I'm going to include all of them. Use document bleed settings, include slug area. I'm going to hit export. There are overset text on these pages, but remember, we don't have actual text here. We're actually working with fake text, so this would not be something that would hurt us at this point. But in reality, if you were working on a real job and you got this message, you would immediately stop and go back and find that overset text. You know what overset text is? See that little red mark right there? You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What that little mark is that's telling you, me, that there's actual text that is not fitting on the page. But this is all fake text anyway. So in our particular case, no harm is being done. But if you are finding this in a real job, you have to go in and you have to examine what text is being overset, and you have to find a way to fix it. You cannot allow it to happen, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we hit okay, and now it's going to create that PDF. And let me drop this down, and it should create that PDF inside of your package. See it right there? And if I double click on that, it'll open up in Acrobat Reader, and there you have it. Look at that. You have your crop marks, you have your bleed marks. There are no bleeds on any of these pages, so but I still indicated the bleed and the crops are still there as well. These are your registration marks. This is what they use to separate the plates. This is your color bar, and this is your grayscale bar. So that is what your pages look like. There's page 1, there's page 2, page 3, and page 4. And they have all of their proper marks. The printer would then take these pages and they would strip them and separate them and prep them for printing. Okay? Close this, and that is your complete project, what you want to deliver to me. The reason I want this in here is so that I can quickly check it. Okay? And then I open this up and I open this up, and if that looks correct and these look correct, that's what I generally grade you on. All right? So the only other thing that I would show you at this point is I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to come down and send it to compressed zip folder. And it went where? Right here. So there is my packaged presentation that you would then send to me. So that's what you want to send me. And I'm done. Any questions? Any final questions or final thoughts?
No.
No? You're good?
I'm good.
Oh, I did have a question. Is there a way that you can get us a PDF of the book for InDesign?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The PDF for the InDesign book? A copy of the PDF of it?
Send me an email. Are you saying the textbook?
Yes.
Oh, you didn't get the textbook?
Well, we get the textbook, but they only let us use it for so long, and
You want it permanently?
yeah, like a PDF of it.
I'll tell you what you could do. Send me an email and ask me in the email, and then what I will do is I will contact my associate dean and ask him whether or not it's possible to do that. Because off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd be interested in a copy too.
Okay, so both of you, if you want a copy, send me an email saying that, and I'll find out for you.
All right, I appreciate that.
Okay. Are we all good otherwise?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what? Give me a second. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to stop recording. Here we go.